Hey, this is Joe Letz, and you're watching SlasherPepper. Pepper slasher, SlasherPepper. Slash the pepper.
Hey guys, SlasherPepper, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Joe Letz. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. I'm so glad to have you on the show, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. And my first question was, and this is quite a serious question to start with, okay?
Okay.
Are you being held hostage by your cats? Blink twice if you are. Oh God, guys, we gotta send help.
It's funny you should say that, because like what just happened to me when I was coming here was I always, whenever I need to like shut my door and have some privacy, the cat's always, I'm always like, oh, if it's like sleeping time during the day, sometimes I have a good run, but I had two cats in here. One of them sleeping right there. He's like the biggest troublemaker, actually. But then Ella was just like on my windowsill right over here, and I was like, she's sleeping, maybe it'll be okay. And then I tried to move her, and she walked on my keyboard, and she fucked my whole computer up, and it restarted. And I was like, so she's out there now. But if she gets crazy, I might bring her in here. See what happens.
All right. So maybe we'll get a peek at Ella.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then here's for real a more serious question. Do you have any new projects coming up?
Not really anything that I could talk about right now. There's some things in the pipeline, but a little too premature to talk about publicly. Yeah.
Right.
So sorry to. I mean, well, as far as it's tough right now because everyone had so many tour dates booked, and they just keep getting rolled over and changed and everything. So there's some tours that Aesthetic Perfection is just hoping to be able to do eventually whenever we could do. I think we have a bunch of dates locked in that we're going to be announcing soon, but I can't say where or when yet, but I'm just excited to get back out on the road.
Awesome. Hopefully I can catch you guys on the road then one day.
For sure.
Awesome. And then to look back at stuff you've already worked on, what album that you worked on are you most proud of?
It's a funny question because I don't record on many albums. I actually I'm a live drummer mostly. I'm open to recording on albums. I just happen to always have played in bands that are electronic, where the singer or the main person on who's in charge of the album kind of records everything on their own. And for a while, when I was in Combi, I was trying to get the live show. Have you ever seen Combi?
Yeah, I've seen some. No, not live myself, but I've seen videos online. So,
well, a lot of people would come to the shows and be like, it sounds so different live, and that was cool. That we gave people a different experience, but I always felt like we should try and capture that on the albums too. But it just never really panned out that we did that, and I wish we would have. Yeah, but a lot of the thing is for me, I tour so much and play for so many different bands that I always have like things on the table and things to go on the road with. And I prefer to be touring. I love to travel. I have so many friends all over the world now. So whenever people ask me to do a record, it's usually when I'm busy, and I'm like, well, I'd have to like not do a tour to do this record. So I hope I didn't like totally shit all over your question, but I love touring. So
I knew you didn't do the drums on Emigrate, but I could have sworn you did some drumming on some other projects of you.
I did let's see, what did I do? I did do some recording for a track. The last thing I remember, my fun, actually, to be fair, like, yeah, this was my funnest studio experience that I can remember. Is actually I got hired to be a drummer for this thing. Are you familiar with video games at all?
A little, but I'm not a big
I'm
gamer.
not so much either. But did you ever hear of League of Legends?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so like, yeah, it's a big deal, and I didn't know that, and I got hired to go and perform at. They have this like, I guess every year they have what's like the equivalent to like the Super Bowl for their video game, and people compete, and they had an event at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, which is like what Madison Square Garden is to New York City.
Yeah.
And I was hired to be a drummer for this event. By the musical director of or the composer even of the video game, it was this German kid named Christian Linky, and he had seen Rammstein tour when he was still living in Germany, and saw me play drums, and he liked the way I play drums. But he had the opportunity to put this live performance together with a full orchestra, and his idea was that they would start with the orchestra, and it turned into this like 12-minute long song, and it started with the orchestra, and then Crystal Method came in, and they started with adding electronic elements to it, and I came in shortly after that and started playing live drums, and then slowly more musicians came, and the whole piece transitioned to this big orchestral rock performance at the end. Wes Borland, one of my best friends, was involved too. He was the guitar player. He was like, I feel like he was the main attraction. They built him this crazy like light up suit. And he came up out from the middle of the stage with all this smoke at the end. So anyway, and Danny from Nine Inch Nails was playing bass, and Tina Guo, who I actually just shot a podcast with the other day, was a cellist, and I don't know if you know who she is, but she's like the most famous cellist in the world, and she's doing stuff with like Hans Zimmer and like all the Game of Thrones stuff. And
Oh, nice.
if you hear anything huge and there's a cello playing, she played it. Like, she's amazing. And anyway, like, so this performance, and people can look up the performance online. It did just look up League of Legends Joe Letz. If you actually, that's how I always search for it. I always show my family really loves this one, but Wes and I were actually in the studio. I had a hand in helping to write and record the end performance, the rock performance. And I'm pretty sure that the track is probably on like, iTunes and everything like that. So that was, and it was like super low stress. And there was just three of us hanging out and like going and recording. And I played on like Wes brought his old Ludwig kit, I think. And it had like a giant bass drum, and it was just all weird.
Awesome.
And it was fun.
That's really cool. And then, what are some of your favorite memories of touring with Rammstein?
Dear. Well, wow. I mean, I've toured with them. I feel like I could answer this question like 7 times, because I've toured with them in a bunch of different capacities. The first time I toured with them, my band at the time was opening up, which was Combi, and then that tour cycle ended, and it was like really, sad. It was like, well, the way it works is like we got offered a leg of the tour. It was like, the first leg of the Liebe ist für alle da tour. And the tour itself lasts for like 2.5, 3 years, because they're going all over the world. They do Europe, they take a little break, they do America, and that's how it all works. There's like A market, B market, C market in all the territories. And so originally we had only been offered the first leg of the European tour for that. And then halfway through the tour, they decided they liked having us around, and they said, we would love to have you guys for the whole rest of the touring cycle. So that was like, wow, we get to do this over and over again for the next couple of years, which was awesome. And then when that ended, our last show was in Vegas, yeah, at the end of the US run. And it was really sad because it was like, now they were like, well, we're going to do this other tour now. And, we have to pick another band to go on tour with us. And it was like, oh, like at that point, you're so like ingrained in the family and of the band and their family and the crew and everything,
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
really special situation. And then that was it. And then lo and behold, in the middle of their next tour, Till and Richard called me on the phone. I'll never forget it because I was sitting in the car with my father who had just my son used to live really far away from me, and I'm divorced from my ex-wife, from his mom, and but we're all cool, by the way. But
Good.
I had just dropped him off, and my dad was driving me because I didn't have a car at the time, and because I always lived in like New York City, because you just take trains there, and I was driving back with my dad on like a 4-hour drive, and then all of a sudden I saw like Richard calling my phone, and I was like, oh, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, and it's like Richard and Till, and they're like, Joey, we're about to go on stage. We wanted to know if you wanted to come on tour with us, and we have a band out now, but for the next tour and then the rest of the album cycle, we'll take you, and then you could just open for us as a DJ. And I was like, fuck yeah, like, oh, I get to do this all over again. And they were like, yeah, and like, obviously you're not going to have your band and your bus, so you'll just come on the private jet with us. And I was like, wow, and I became part of like the immediate band crew. And that was a really special opportunity. But how my days went then was I would DJ, and it was funny. A couple of weeks before the tour, I had created like a great DJ set of like original stuff and other stuff that I liked. And a couple of weeks before the tour, I find out that I can only play Rammstein stuff, and I'm thinking like, what do you mean? I'm opening for you guys. Like, how can I only play your music before you go on? But legally, that's what the situation was. So I just had to roll with the punches, and I had them send me all the remixes that they've ever done. And this was at a time when, like, like EDM music. I always confuse it with EBM music, which is like techno,
Yeah.
like goth techno. But EDM music was this is when it was like getting huge. Like Skrillex was huge, and Knife Party and all these like producer bands. And they sent me these remixes. But back when I was growing up, is like when these remixes are from. Like, do you imagine what the remix for Du Hast is like? Is like, a guitar riff that repeats for 12 minutes with it, and it's just, I was like, I can't go on stage and play these remixes. Like, I don't know. And, they had a different idea, and so I just took a total shot in the dark, and I was like, can you send me the remix kits, or the stems, as we call them in the industry, for, and I listed all their like 10 of their biggest songs. And I did not think that they were going to say yes. And then next thing I know, a week later in my email, I have the stems for, and the studio recording individual tracks for all of their biggest songs they ever recorded. And I was like, wow. And then what I did was I reached out to a bunch of producers that I'm friends with, that I've worked with, and Daniel from Aesthetic Perfection was one of them. And I had a bunch of people work on remixes with me, and then I performed those remixes live and what turned into be their actual intro. The first show with them on that tour was in Florida, and basically the day before the first show, they did their rehearsal, and then they were like, okay, Joey, like, do your thing. And then we're going to see, they were like, we're going to see how it is. And worst case scenario, you just don't do it. And then you can come on tour with us anyway, and we'll find something else for you to do. And I went on stage, and I did the remix set. It was like 30 minutes long. And they all of them just were right in front of the stage watching it. And then afterwards, there were like all right, we're gonna like talk and then like just hang out. And I had this like weird feel. I was like, oh, like I'm so stoked to be here, but like, what if I don't get to do this? It's like the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever. And then they called me to down by the pool by the hotel, and they were all sitting there, and they were like, all right, here's the deal. You're gonna go on 30 minutes before we go on, and you're gonna at the end get the you do figure out a way to like get the crowd hyped, and then you'll get a signal from the tour manager off the side of the stage with a flashlight, and we're going to come on stage. So I went from being the like opening DJ act to being their actual intro and being more of a 30-minute introduction
Yeah.
to the show, which was fucking sick. Like I'll never forget the feeling of, I would do my 30-minute set, and then at the end I would hit a loop on my DJ controller, and I had samples, and I would get the crowd to chant Rammstein and fuck the DJ too, because a lot of people were like, we don't want to hear a DJ. So I was like, okay,
Yeah,
so you
of
say
course.
fuck the DJ to me, and then I'd get the crowd super hyped, and then I'd get the flashlight, and then I would just like go back and run off the stage, and the fucking bridge would come down, and everyone would start going nuts, and they would walk across the bridge from the back of the room. Now, in the meantime, someone would have packed up my DJ gear and left it on the side of the stage for me. And then I would grab it and go to the after party room and set my DJ gear up again. And then I would go out and watch the show and invite people to the party and just enjoy the show. And then right after they got off stage, I would go and DJ again for anywhere from like 3 to 6 hours. And
Nice.
yeah, and now and then I completed that touring cycle. And then it didn't make sense to have me on again for a minute, and they were doing festivals. And then Richard called me one day, and he was like, Richard's one of my best friends. So I imagine that there's no one else, and we're just very close. And he called me, and he was like, I just need you around, man. Like, do you want to come on the tour and be my assistant and like, help with things throughout the show, and you can continue to DJ at the after parties and stuff like that, like from now on, and I accepted it. And so now I'm like a full-time crew member for Rammstein whenever they're touring. And I'm not performing, but people do ask me from time to time, like, don't you wish you were performing? And the answer is that, to be honest with you, I like my main reason for ever wanting to do what I do is I've always wanted to just be able to I love music, but I love traveling. I love touring. And I always just wanted to be able to travel and like experience the world. That was like my main goal when I was a little kid. I was like, I'm gonna like play music, but my goal, like I said to myself since I was a little kid, I was like, I don't want to be rich and famous, because those are doing this for the wrong reasons. I want to do this so that I can travel around the world. And of course, I want to be able to pay my bills and like support my family eventually when I have one. But I just want to like experience the world. And that was always my goal. And I've been lucky enough to, get a lot of the gigs I do drumming. I know I'm a unique drummer, and I offer something special to any band that I'm playing in, but I don't need to be doing that. I just love to travel with the people, and to be a part of this machine that is Rammstein is like such an honor. And every day when I'm getting the band and Richard ready for the show, and we all walk to the fucking stage with the crowd chanting, and now they're playing in stadiums, which is the biggest thing you could play in the world. It's like I get almost a bigger, I'd say the same rush as if I was playing the show, just because
Right.
like I'm a part of this machine, and I've helped to get them ready, and now they're going to go up there. And it's like, and the thing about them and their crew and everything, like everyone is super diligent and like really a hard worker and really great at what they do. And everyone is always included and made to feel like they're valued, and that the shows could not happen the way they do if each and every one of those people weren't there doing their job. So I really feel like I'm an important part of that machine, and that's a really special feeling.
Awesome, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the 30-minute set that you used to have because it was so original because it's almost like a trailer, you know? Like
Yeah.
you're watching a trailer before the movie and you just get more hyped for the actual movie, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
I appreciate that. Not a lot of, well, I just shouldn't say not a lot of people. Um, Look, anytime that someone's going to see an opening band, you face like that opening band, no matter what, always faces adversity of knowing like, are people going to like me? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
are people going to like this? And what's this going to be like? And I totally get that people were confused about what I was doing. It was what I was asked to do by the band. A lot of people didn't understand that. I got a lot of hate on my social media, like, who the fuck do you think you are, opening for Rammstein and playing Rammstein? That's the stupidest idea ever. But maybe if, of course, the band's not going to be like, hey, no, we told Joey to do that. But like, I wonder if the people knew that maybe they wouldn't think that it sucked. I don't know. I did get like, it was divisive. Some people didn't like it and some people did like it. And I totally get the people that didn't like it. But that's why I kind of made a joke of myself. And I actually like sold shirts because I could sell shirts at the merch booth. So I sold shirts that said fuck the DJ. And I figured then even people that hated me could buy it and enjoy it. And I get the crowd to do fuck the DJ. I just wanted to have fun with it, have everyone else have
Yeah.
fun. Generally speaking, it went over great. Some shows were fucking awesome and people were going bananas, but there was 2 shows that were really bad where people were
Okay.
throwing things at me and screaming at me.
No
Um,
way.
yeah, I think one was in France, which sucks because France has like some of the best crowds. But to be fair, it makes sense that they would also have some of the worst crowds. They're very, very passionate people. So if they
Right.
really like something, you're in for a great surprise. And I guess if they really don't like something, you're also in for a great surprise.
Yes. Yeah, one of the worst cases of that was with Machine Head.
Mm-hmm.
They opened for Slayer in like the 90s, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone was just screaming Slayer during like their opening act, you know?
Yeah.
That must be embarrassing too.
Yeah. I know. I remember this with the first time that Combichrist went on stage was in Portugal, opening for Rammstein, and we got all ready, and then we walked to the stage in the arena, and right before we went on and start, we all were in a circle, and we just all of a sudden at the same time we're like almost panicked and said like it dawned on us, and we were like, what if they hate us? They're probably going to hate us. And we were like, oh no, you're right. No one's here to see us. Oh no. And sorry, I like spit just now, and I have like, I don't know if you could see, but I have these braces in my mouth, these Invisalign like plastic things that click on my teeth. I used to have like really fucked up teeth, so I've been like hanging with these like adult braces for
Oh,
quite a
right.
while. So we right before we went on stage, we panicked, and then we went on stage and started. And one of the beauties of that band with any slots like that, like opening slots, was um first of all, we were a great live band. It was like a fucking powerhouse. Like there was a lot of tension in between us all the time, and we always like let it loose on stage and just threw our instruments at one another and went bananas. And the crowd always liked that. But the beauty of this band in that particular type of role, being an opener, especially in a big crowd like that, is the lyrics were very anthemic and simple, so it was really easy for people to like sing along and get into it, like fuck that shit. You say fuck that shit over and over and people are just like, yeah, fuck that shit, or like what the fuck is wrong with you, and all
Nice,
this stuff. so,
nice.
so it worked well, and like really quick, within 1 or 2 songs, we were like, this is great, everyone loves it, and it went over
Awesome.
well. Yeah.
It's such a like a heavy metal party band, basically.
Yeah.
I love that about it. And here's a total different subject. Huge U-turn here. My channel's all about horror movies and metal music.
Uh-huh.
Um, so what are some of your favorite horror movies? Are you much of a fan of horror at all?
You know what? I'm not a huge horror fan because I feel like I do feel like I have some things I can talk about, so don't worry. But
Awesome.
I'm like I like it, generally speaking, most horror movies now are all about like jump scares and they're just kind
Yeah.
of tacky and cheesy. And I'm not into movies like that. I first of all, I scare very easily. I'm like super overly sensitive and um you know, so when I go to those, I freak out. I'm like, I'm the guy in the movies with if I have popcorn, it goes all over the place. You know what I
Right.
mean? And everyone that's with me thinks it's hilarious, but I'm stressed out. I'm like, and the movie's not even that good, and I'm just getting scared, and it just feels cheap, and I'm not into that. But I really do like movies that are more like cerebral, like Hereditary.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and then Midsummer was like pretty fucking, I'm more of like a thriller kind of guy, like a mystery guy. So like any murder stuff or I'm sorry, any horror stuff that's more like that, that's like maybe murder or like serial killer stuff. That you're guessing the whole time. I'm into that. Like right now, I'm just watching this new show on HBO Max. It's actually, I guess it's not that new because people have been telling me to watch it for a while. It's called Mayor of Easttown. Have you heard of it?
I have not actually.
Okay, it's like, but it's not a horror movie, but it's like a true detective kind of like murder mystery, and it's really
Nice.
good. Like I love stuff like that. But as far as like horror movie, and I do appreciate like cheesy horror movies from when I was growing up. And it's funny to watch them now and think and then think how scared I was when I was a kid and I saw them like Freddy Krueger.
Oh
I
yeah.
like if I had to pick one of the greats, I'd pick Freddy, and I'm not like honestly, I've never even watched through any of the Friday the 13th movies. It never interested me. I've seen bits and pieces and I'm like, oh, okay, the guy with the fucking ski mask, and the Halloween movies. Eh. Um, I love Rob Zombie. I don't love all his movies. I really love Devil's Rejects. I felt like
Oh
that
yeah.
was his like opus. I'm super excited for the Munsters movie to come out. Um, but I do remember the first movie I got really, really scared of when I was a kid, and that was Pet Cemetery.
Oh yeah. Like probably the sister or whatever it was, like the
Yes.
girl in bed. It's
Yeah. And it goes, Rachel. I
yes.
feel like that everyone was so freaked out by that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have done a spin-off. Well, if that movie was made today, they would have done a Rachel spin-off. And
Yeah.
like it would have been like
Cinematic
part one, part
universe.
two, part three. Yeah. Ugh. Rachel come lives again, 13.
Exactly. Rachel's the bride or yeah, like
The
Rachel's
groom of
daughter and
Rachel.
bride
The,
of Rachel, everything.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a classic. Did you
Yeah.
see the remake?
I did. And like I did. And it was like the same exact story scene for scene, right? It was the same
Yeah,
thing, but then except at the end they changed it a little. Is that what happened?
exactly. Yeah, and I don't know, there was something different about the kid dying. Like I think it was the daughter instead of the son, or like the other way around. Like I'm
I can't
not
remember
huge
now.
into it, but
I remember being disappointed, honestly. I was like, I had my son and my girlfriend, and I was like, this was the movie that fucking did it to me when I was a kid. And I was like,
right,
I was
yeah.
ready to like, and so first we watched the original and then we watched the remake, and I was like, it's the same movie, really. It's not as
Yep.
good.
You see, that's the thing. I went into it. I watched it like a year after it came out, so I knew everyone hated it. So I went in with very low expectations. Um, I thought it was all right, but yeah,
You
I can
know,
totally see why people don't like that film.
yeah. I don't like when excuse me, I don't like when people whenever if there's something coming out that I want to see, I try and see it immediately. My son's told me that the new Quiet Place I think it's called, is
Yeah,
really good and better than the first one. But I don't even. This is going to sound weird, but I don't even like to hear that. I don't want to know that everyone likes better than the first one. Because then I go in with an expectation.
Exactly.
And I don't want people to be like, oh, wait till you see the ending. Then I'm just the whole time like, all right, what's the ending?
Yes, exactly.
I hate that. I don't want to hear what you, and then if someone's like, oh, I saw that thing, I'll be like, I don't want to hear about it. Don't tell me about it. And no, I'm not going to say anything. I just got, no, trust me. Don't say anything about it. And they're like, yeah, I'm not going to ruin anything. But the ending sucked. And then I'm like, well, you just did. You just ruined it. Me, I think about it too much.
Yeah, I bet. And here are some more philosophical questions. If you ruled the world, what would it look like?
Have you ever seen that Taylor Swift video for what is it called? It's the one with the guy from Hold on, I gotta open my Apple Music. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. My computer might freeze. It here. What do you know any Taylor Swift videos? Probably not, right?
Vaguely, but I can't believe I just typed in like, Taylor Swift.
You know what? My I don't even need to type it in anymore. My computer knows what I need. Okay, so it's called Me, and it's featuring the singer of Panic at the Disco, and that music video is exactly how the world would look if I ruled the world. Absolutely 100%. And I don't know if you can like fly images in from, into this when you're editing, but you should absolutely take screenshots of that.
I'm looking at it now.
It's like, just think like, it's, it's just like what heaven looks like if you love marshmallows and unicorns in the color pink.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a weirdly specific and quick answer. It's like you were prepared for this one.
Yeah. I love I figured out earlier in my life when I first started touring and I was playing in that band Amen. I was in my early 20s, and out of nowhere I just started listening to really like new wave music from the 80s and like stuff that like was super happy and carefree, kind of moody, but like nothing like kill your mother, kill your father. It's like I was playing in this like really heavy band, and I just like naturally found like the opposite of that and like started kind of like balancing my life with it. And when I'm listening to music at home, I just want to listen to that stuff usually. Of course, I put on like the heavy stuff, if I'm going to work out or do anything and stuff like that. But I'm really always listening to like Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber. And I don't care that I don't, look, of course, people that listen to the kind of music that I play and everything are a lot of times like, well, that music sucks.
Are you a poser?
Well, my answer to that is like, look, when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, it wasn't cool to like certain things. And I'm not a teenager anymore. I can think for myself and I can listen to something. And if I like it, I like it. And as far as people saying, yeah, but like everyone has like the stereotypical like textbook reasons why they don't like that stuff. And they probably never, most of them probably never even gave it a chance and tried to like it. Because look, here's the deal. Like millions of dollars go into every one of those songs. Exactly. They have the best producers. They didn't write the song. Oh, well, they hired the best person that writes songs to write it. Right. So like, all this money and it's not, of course there's something to be said about a band going into a room and recording like a punk rock song, which is also has its like place for why it's special and stuff. But in the pop world, like all these people are getting the best players, the best producers, the best recording equipment, the best studios and everything to make these songs. And I want to know what those amazing, expensive songs sound like. And usually I like them, right. Yeah. So like, actually I had a funny story about Justin Bieber. I still had like, the times of experiencing like just being like, oh, that I think that sucks, so it sucks. I'm like, I catch myself sometimes. And a funny story about Justin Bieber was at the end of the first leg of that Rammstein tour that with Combichrist that I was talking about earlier. I asked Flocka, I said, what are you going to do over the summer, over the break? Because we were going to tour again, but it was actually, I think it was in the winter. So what are you going to do over the break? And he was like, I'm going to see Justin Bieber. And I laughed and I thought he was kidding. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding. Listen, he's like, you have to watch this movie. He's amazing. And there was a movie about like his story about like since how he started as a kid and like where, through his success and how he was found and everything. There's like a documentary. And I was like, oh, okay. And then shortly after that, I was on the plane with my girlfriend at the time. And I don't know about you, but if you're flying on a plane with someone and like you're sitting next to them, do you ever like agree on a movie and then like try to start it at the same time? So you're like watching it together and like,
No, but that's like the best idea ever.
Oh yeah, I do that. And then you're like, oh, fuck, like do it again.
Exactly.
Get it perfect. So you're both seeing the jokes at the same time and laughing together, So we were sitting next to one another and she wanted to watch something else. And I saw the Justin Bieber movie. So I started it. Within 10 minutes, I started crying and I was like, this is amazing. And I stopped her. I was like, you got to watch this with me right now. And we started it over and we watched it together. And, that kid, Justin Bieber, he like the first time he picked up drumsticks, he sat down behind a drum kit and he just could play better than I could after 4 years of playing. It was insane. Like, this kid has something inside his soul from another life or something. Like he is somebody, he was somebody, he can play every fucking instrument. He has a natural talent and he was just always inspired to just do that. And he used to go and sit as a kid and his parents would take him and he was like, I just want to play music for people. And he was like, 6-7 years old and he would go and sit on the steps of like his town's like I don't know, some place where there's a lot of people, like a town square or something, like where you might see like a busker. And I don't even think he was doing it for money. He was just doing it so that he could perform and like get people to see what he could do. And he was just always driven to do this since he was a little kid, and I watched that movie and it changed me. It was a really important movie for me to watch, really. And in everything I just talked about with like, giving things a chance and stuff. I feel bad for him because he actually got like, when you see that kind of success when you're young, I think you don't have a chance to grow up experiencing things normally socially like most people would. And you're just put on this pedestal and you have all these yes people around you that are basically going to enable you to just do whatever you want to do. And if you're experiencing that while you're going through puberty, that's fucking nuts. Like you're insane hormonally. And like you're a teenager, you shouldn't be, I mean, I'm not saying his story shouldn't have happened the way it happened. But I just think that like, that's a really weird, strange experience for someone who's that age, you know what I mean? To have. And I think that he had a hard time grounding himself and humbling himself. And he went through a really big public episode, a really long one of doing stupid things and making himself look bad. But I never thought that. I always felt bad for him because I knew, like, I think he actually, if on his new record, there's a song called Lonely. It's a really good song and you should listen to it because it's basically about that. He's like, look, like in that song, he says like, have you ever had it all, but had no one to call, and like, yeah, it's like, imagine like everyone around you in your life just wants to be involved with you and they're just going to agree to everything you say. But like, you just want someone to talk to and be real with you. And he doesn't have that, like probably not even in his family. You know what I mean?
Right.
this new record that he just put out, in my opinion, it's his like most mature, and like he seems to be kind of coming to terms with his success. And like, I don't know if you know, but like he actually was in the middle of a stadium tour a few years ago. Some of my friends worked on it, and he just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And he just can't. He was like, I'm canceling everything. It was all sold out. He was like, I'm not doing this anymore, you know. And he went through a lot of therapy and whatever he was dealing with at the time. And yeah, it's an interesting story. I wish more people, not that he doesn't have enough fans as it is, but it's a shame that so many people in all these different specific music worlds that are like metalheads or like whatever wouldn't give him a chance, or other things. I just feel like there's so much out there. You know, if you like it, you like it.
Well, musically, I'm not a huge Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift fan. I can't say I'm like, I know the hits, of course, but besides that, I don't. But I'm a huge fan of like Duran Duran or U2.
I love both of those bands. Yeah, Duran Duran for sure, and U2. I mean, I said Duran Duran for sure because like Duran Duran just keeps coming on the radio, and like I'm getting my kid into it right now. But like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, have you ever seen U2 play?
No. I mean, videos, of course, but whenever they come to Holland, I'm definitely gonna be seeing them live myself.
Yeah, I want to see them so bad. I've never seen them.
Yeah, they
I've
pull
never seen
amazing
Duran
shows.
Duran either.
No, me neither. I think they're sort of getting back now with touring and stuff, but
I
I'm
think
really not sure.
I think they are. I think they still play. Yeah.
That would be really awesome. And if you could change one characteristic about yourself, what would you change?
Hmm. Wow. I would. I mean, I think that it would be my procrastination, I guess. Like I feel that I have a big list of things to do constantly, and I often overlook the things that make me feel the best, like exercising and things like this. And I don't know what it is. It's like some weird mental block. This is what I would change. I would be like, I wish I could press a button, and then once I press that button, every day when I woke up, I'd automatically exercise and it would never be an issue again. That's what I was like, I could change.
Nice. Yeah, I would probably do the same thing.
It's so weird. Like every time I exercise, I feel so great afterwards. And
I
every time
know.
I'm like, how am I not doing this every day? And then the next day I'm like,
Exactly.
I don't know
And
what it is.
it's like a reverse thing. Like when you eat junk food, it's like, oh, I want to do this, but then
Yeah.
afterwards you just feel like shit. Like I shouldn't have eaten this. So it's like the reverse thing, but you know, it's easier to start doing that than exercising, I feel.
Absolutely. And then, yeah. And then if you like exercise early in like, when you start your day with something, I always try to tell my son to like make his bed, like right when he wakes up, because first of all, then you don't want to get back in the bed. And then second of all, you like did something that it like took discipline, and like you're showing yourself that like you have discipline and self-respect, and like you care about, like you're thankful for your bed, and like you made it look
Wow.
nice, so that at the end of the day you come back to this nicely made bed, and you can
Yeah.
end your day like that. But when you start your day like that, it instills something in you. It plants a little seed, and it makes it easier to do all of the rest of your tasks for the rest of the day. And when you start your day with exercising, it like does exactly that, but like on steroids, because it's the one thing you put off all day and say, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And if you just start with it, you're like, now I can do everything else,
Right.
Yeah.
I totally got to start making my bed in the morning, like right away. Like
Yeah.
I had this problem today. I wake up, I grab my phone, and I'm like on my phone for an hour, and I'm like, I should get out of bed. And then 20 minutes later, I'm still in my bed. And I'm like, I should just get out, you know?
Yeah.
But, maybe making my bed would be a good idea to start
Yeah.
doing that from
Do
now
it.
on.
Someone shared that with me, like probably like 5 years ago. And did the same thing. And I was like, that's such an amazing idea. And I started doing it. And I never looked back.
Awesome. I'll never
Yeah.
look back from today either.
Good. Oh, I expect pictures. I want pictures of your bed made every day for the next 30 days in my Instagram. And then I'll know. I'll be
Okay.
your bed trainer, your bed making.
Yes. Deal.
Sometimes I'll be like, it's not good enough. Do it over.
Deal, man. Deal. And then here, final question. If your life was a movie, how would you want it to end?
My life was a movie. How would I want it to end? Wow. You're asking me how I want my life to end.
Basically.
Oh my God. I'm going to answer it like, how do I want my life to end? Because if I answer it like what the movie would be, that would be like me saying, this is what I would want everyone to think about me. But I want to answer as like how I want to feel when I'm dying, when my life is ending. I just want to be able to look back. A little fly in here. I just want to be able to look back on my life and not have any regrets. I don't want to I want to feel like I've instilled good vibes and positive values in everyone that I've experienced in my life, and especially the people that are close to me, like my son. And I just want to know that that my time here was spent learning how to better myself, and through that teaching others that are close to me how to do the same, and hoping that I instilled that in people that are close to me so that they could continue on that path, and then instill that in other people, so that it just, I think I just want to know that there was a lot of love, and that I'm going away from a lot of love that's still going to exist and is going to carry on and continue to grow. How's that? Is that cheesy enough for you?
I love it. I love it.
Keyword, love.
Yes, exactly. Well, you've already done it in one way, the idea of making your bed in the morning will pass on for sure.
That now when you're gonna have kids and you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna be
Exactly.
like, one time this big idiot with all this shit all over his arms told me, make your bed.
I can show them the footage.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be in some dusty digital archive somewhere.
Yeah. YouTube, what's that?
Yeah. Exactly. Is there anything you would like to add to the interview?
No, man, I'm just I'm grateful that people like yourself want to get to know me and spend time to speak with me and share that with other people. I think it's super cool. So thank you so much for thinking of me and inviting me.
You're so welcome. This was a lot of fun, man.
Cool.
And to everybody watching, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. See ya.
All right. Bye, everybody.